You know, I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, do we really need another Boss DS-1 pedal video on YouTube? Yeah. Yeah, we do, because it's the best distortion pedal ever made. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Bent Note, where we talk about all sorts of guitar, pedals, amps, gear-related things that I can get my hands on and put in front of y'all, or, things you may have already put in front of yourself. Today, that's right, we're talking about the Boss DS-1. Everyone knows it. Everyone has it. Everyone knows. You probably got this laying around in a shoebox somewhere. Go dig it out. We're going to be talking about it today. We're going to be talking about it. So, why am I bringing up this pedal that has been infinitely discussed, shown off, reviewed, demoed, and recorded with since the dawn of pedals, basically? Mostly because it's of the recent release of the Boss DS-1 Wazacraft edition, which is incredible, amazing. I'm a big fan of the Boss line of pedals, especially the Wazacraft ones. Amazing pedals. But a lot of people may not be really crazy about spending what, $160 for what accounts to as a switch for a little bit of a tonal change. And personally, yes, I am totally going to pick up one. I am 10 out of 10 going to buy a Wazacraft DS-1 because I adore the line of pedals. But I dug out mine and popped it out, I plugged it in, and I don't use this as much as I used to, but it's a pedal worth checking out even without the Wazacraft version, just to try the original. And I wanted to show off a couple ways that I personally like using a DS-1, because even the $50-$60 version, which, I mean, you can find them dirt cheap all day long for even less used. Go on Facebook Marketplace, go on your Craigslist, go on Reverb, eBay. You'd be able to pick these up for less than retail easily. I mean, for $40, I think it's a no-brainer. It's this, you buy one and it'll last you forever. This is an incredible pedal to own. Now, why would you want this pedal? Personally, it's one of the most versatile, musically vibrant pedals that I think is out there, and it's why it's stood the test of time for the past 40 years. Everyone from Kurt Cobain, and I know you can hear them. Yes, I know. Kurt Cobain preferred the DS2, which we will do a video on the DS2 eventually. But he did like the DS-1, and for better or worse, the DS-1 really is the sound of grunge in a box. And I adore that early '90s tone that you can get from it. That really oversaturated, buzzy distortion when you crank one of these. But a lot of people have also used this elsewhere. You have, Joe Satriani used it, Steve Vai used it. Countless other musicians, and it's seen so many different genres, and it's just incredibly endearing. It's an endearing pedal for $50. This is one of the most iconic things you can get for $50, and it's got such a distinct tone all of its own. It's hard to really capture what a Boss DS-1 sounds like when you plug it in. There are things like it, but it does its thing very well, and that makes it such a unique thing to have. And I think it's funny that we've kind of come full circle. A lot of the times, we went out of our way to try to find pedals that stood out from what we were used to. This has been used ad nauseum, of course. So we start using different distortion pedals, different tones, and and then in 2022 we have literally a buffet of pedals, distortion pedals that are, can do what this does and then some. But the more that happens, you see, like we end up going back to the originals. for that tone, for that sound. Sometimes you want to, like, instead of trying to find the newest, craziest things, sometimes it's a walk down memory lane to get something interesting, something musical. And I think that's what kind of personifies the DS1, is that it's old reliable, it's old faithful, and like I think a lot of musicians just love experimenting with that classic distorted tone. I want to show a couple examples of how I use it personally. The first video, this is how I use it right now. I personally like to use it as a low gain pedal, usually distortion cranked all the way down, distortion all the way down, tone, you know, a little over the place, not too bright, level, depending on the amp, may or may not have that cranked all the way, and just that light, really light, slight crunch, but it has such a hard clip to it. It's, even on 0, it's got such a rock tone to it. That's my preferred tone that I get from it personally. The second clip cranked up the gain a little bit more on it to really get that overly saturated, buzzy cannabis kind of high treble, really 90s distortion tone that I really like. Obviously, I mean, it's a pedal from the 80s, but the tone is the 90s. I think grunge, I think gross, I think punk. I think it's just a tone that's just uniquely aggressive. It's not clean. It's not, I don't know. It's not. It's so saturated and good. It's very unique, and it's not always my go-to, but it's good in its own way. If you can find a use for it, I think it's very uniquely its own thing. The third clip is us stacking it with an overdrive pedal for a really nice lead tone. I love running this into a dirty amp over an overdrive pedal on top of a fuzz for lead tones. I think it creates a very unique and dynamic sound that I can understand why a lot of shred musicians loved this in the 80s, like Steve Vai. It's very unique and special. It's so gainy, but it's uniquely its own thing when you add one of these to the mix. Now, as I've said before, there's a million videos on this pedal. There are a million people who love this pedal, who have said more than what I can say. I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents, and I'd recommend it. I genuinely think you should run out and buy this to go take a trip down memory lane and pick one of these up. If you have seen the recent Wazacraft one, and maybe you've never used one, grab one of these for 40-50 bucks. And I promise you, if you end up loving this pedal, you're probably going to want to get the Wazacraft. But like I said, try it out. All else fails, you'll have a nice little orange pedal to add to your collection in the meantime. That's pretty much all I have to say about this sweet little pedal. Check it out. It's a great pedal. I love it. In the meantime, thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all in the next video. I don't know when that will be, but whenever I get around to buying more gear, as always, if you would be so inclined, do like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comment what are your thoughts on the Boss pedal, the Boss DS-1. What do you do? Not like it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? In the meantime, thank you. This has been the Bent Note. I will be see y'all next time.